Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Randomize and this is Crash Bandicoot the Insane Trilogy, the second part of our adventure. Going back through all the Crash Bandicoot games is starting here because we are going to be starting our walkthrough to Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back. And what a game this is. This is the first Crash game I ever played. I'm sure I gave a long story at the start of the original Crash game.
Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back.
So yeah, this is the game that really got me into Crash, got me into platformers. I have so many memories of this game, and I am so looking forward to getting back into it and sort of just playing through the levels again. I remember all of, like, you know, the various levels. This game is an improvement on the original Crash in my own opinion by such leaps and bounds. It is really, it's just a great game. I still come back to it. I once did I was going to do a recording actually on my PlayStation for just a speed run. Like I did a speed run through the game and beat it in I think just under an hour, like any percent. Which I don't really know is pretty rubbish in broad terms, but you know, I was just having a fun playthrough and wanted to zip through it and see how fast I could do. So it's not exactly a game that, you know, it's still a game that you still come back to, and that's the amazing thing about these games. I feel like they don't age. You know, there's no loss of the quality in how long you get to play them. But just because we still have the old one, we now have this new one. I'm so hyped to actually play this and see what it's like. We obviously will have relics for this game that we didn't have originally, and yeah, no, just playing through everything once more. It's going to be amazing. I'm so looking forward to it. So here we go, Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back. Let's start a new game.
Crystals, of course. No!
But Dr. Cortex, to reach full power, we need not only your master crystal, but also the remaining 25 slave crystals from the surface. How do you expect to retrieve them when we don't have any Earthbound operatives left?
You fool! Do you think I'm unaware of the situation? If we don't have any friends left on the surface, then we'll need to find an enemy.
Crash! 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 My battery is fried. Make yourself useful, big brother, and bring an extra battery for me.
Oh, I love how cute Coco is. That's adorable. Oh, there's so many nice things about that opening cutscene. Just the little touches. I love how we see Cortex crash into the area, like around, I guess, around toxic waste. In the first game, you sort of crash down into there. I love the engine. I love how engine sort of looks and how he sort of reacts and how he's sort of emoting almost. You know, sort of the actions he performs. And then I think I actually saw. I think Coco was actually watching the Uncharted 4 little bit where they actually play Crash, which was an amazing little touch. That's a great little touch, if that's true. So anyway, so this first level isn't, well, this isn't really a level. This is just taking us from here to the first warp room, and we actually get to sort of get into the meat of the game. I love the fact that here we can actually slide for the first time. Oh, the slide feels really good. Can we actually slide dash? Used to be able to slide dash. It looks like you can, but I think, if I remember correctly, we actually get the running shoes at the end. So in Crash 3, one of the one of the power-ups you actually got for defeating the final boss was actually some running shoes, which allowed you to essentially do the obviously the time trials a lot faster. I think they've actually introduced them for this game as well. So, back when I remember when I first had this game, I remember this little section, because I think if you start the game, you actually have no music at all. And then what used to happen was you'd get into this tiny pit here, and the music would start. And I used to actually get really scared just when the music would start. I was so, like, I had no idea what was going on, and the music would start, and I just want to just turn back, and then the music would stop. And the music would start, and the music would stop. And it would just be like, I just wouldn't be able to, finally, you know, eventually I managed to sort of pick myself up and actually, you know, continue on with the level here. This very basic little level here. So, we can see that we start off with the usual sort of 4 lives, although now we have 5. We can very quickly get a nice easy 10 boxes here, although I don't think there'll be anything like a gem or anything to do with that. And here we go, our first. As Crash enters here, we will be... why didn't it warp? Normally you'd see like a warp animation there. I'm not sure what happened there. I'm sure you'd see a warp animation. But anyway, Crash will get warped away to the warp room. And I'm sure we'll get a cutscene here with Cortex.
If it isn't Crash Bandicoot, welcome. I apologize for the crude means used to bring you here, but I'd rather expect a written invitation would have been turned down. I need your help. Surrounding you are a series of 5 doors. Through each door lies a well-hidden crystal. The crystals look like this. Bring me the crystals, Crash. That is all I will say for now. We will speak again.
I like how you just sort of get that, and there's so little there for like Cortex to actually sort of convince you to actually go on. That cutscene looked beautiful. I love that hologram looked actually really, really nice. Although I'm not sure about the sort of the warping in effect. There's usually a much sort of just much nice or much more clear sound towards it. So anyway, here we are in the warp room, the first warp room, and actually we have 5 levels that come out from each of the warp rooms. So the first one here is Turtle Woods. We then have Snow Go, Hang 8. I like how the individual sort of levels. It was very much also in the original game, but you sort of had like little hints as to what the level was going to be like, just from like, so like here we have the snow showing this is a snowy level. You know, this one is green showing it's a bayou level. We have a woods level here, and you know, and then we have Crash. They even kept the tree. There was a tree in the original one. I love the fact they still got the tree coming through. Here we just have the load save screen, but obviously that's been changed. I wonder if that will be the boss now, maybe. And then we can also see you obviously have the slots here for crystals, gems, and now also relics. And you can actually see that there are some colored gems even in these early levels, whereas our first colored gem in Crash 1 was in Lost City. We actually have colored gems in both the first 2 levels here, although I'm not sure we're going to be able to get the one here in Snow Go. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to try and get a very quick trophy that you can get right at the start of the game. And the way we do that is we actually make Cortex angry. And the way we do that is we continually leave the level without a crystal. And slowly, I remember definitely that Cortex used to get pretty mad if you left the level. Oh, look how beautiful it is. I love the rain. The rain is gorgeous effects. But yeah, no, so if we quit from here, as we can see the pause menu. But yeah, if we quit from here and we go back to the warp room, we should now get another cutscene with Cortex where he's remonstrating Crash, saying that he, you know, is pretty much an idiot and should go back in there and grab those crystals. And if we do this several times, I believe we actually get a trophy. And it's actually a missable trophy. Once you get your first crystal, you cannot get this trophy.
No, Crash. I said bring me the crystals. Now, get back in there.
So there's the first one. I think we have to do it maybe 3 times. But yeah, no. So yeah, it is technically missable. That being said, just because it's missable, I mean, it is right at the start of the game. It takes absolutely no time to, you know, to just restart a new save and do this over again. So if you miss it at the start, you can always come straight back. But yeah, no, that warp effect used to be so much... There used to be a much more sort of... It's just the sound, I think. There used to be a much more sort of... satisfying sound whenever you entered the level, and this time it's just sort of a weak wob wob, sort of just a weak, almost bubbling noise, which are a little disappointing, but... Obviously, they're all, you know, the important thing is obviously certain things are not going to fit the sort of the style that they've chosen for, you know, the remake.
No, Crash. To save the world, I need crystals. Crystals! One more time. They look like this. Crystals, Crash. Go back through one of those doors and bring me crystals.
I love how Crash just looks absolutely terrified whenever Cortex is talking to him. Just got mouth agape, just his hands in his air, just like, I don't know what you mean. It's great. So also we still have the hints, as you can see. The hint here says be kind to the boxes to earn a special gem. That actually leads to the blue gem here. The special gem being obviously a color gem, but we are just going to quit once more. We'll talk about the blue gem when we get into the level.
Look up at the doorways. There is a big crystal-shaped slot. Fill all 5 crystal slots in this warp room by retrieving 1 crystal from each of the 5 areas. Only after we have filled all of the slots in this room can we continue on our quest. This is the last time I remind you.
So there we go. We actually do get a crystal. We actually get a trophy for doing that called Cortex N Furiated. So there we go. And now what we can do is we can head back into Turtlewoods and finally actually get this level underway. I'm sure you should have been waiting for us to finally get this going. So here we go, Turtle Woods. And this is a really fun level to start off with. It's got a pretty involved bonus route. It's got a hidden, well no, I mean, it's got obviously our first bonus route. It's not actually that involved, but it has a pretty involved secret bonus route. And it sort of introduces you to some of the basic sort of types of enemies that we'll start seeing. So obviously you have these armadillo sort of style enemies that you can kill in any way you sort of want. You can slide them, you can spin them, you can do pretty much anything. You can jump on them. They die to everything, pretty much. So this here is our first bonus warp. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to break the checkpoint boss just in case we mess this up. Because you have to do some pretty fine platforming here just to do this section right. So there you have our first sort of spiny turtle. These guys we can only kill by jumping on them and then spinning them away. We'll also see a sort of, comparatively, there'll be other types of turtles which we can't actually jump on because they'll have swords, I think, above them. So this first little level is sort of like a nice little test of your ability to slide jump. So we can slide jump over here to avoid all the nitros down below. The nitro crates is a new thing brought into this level as well. Sorry, not just this level, but this game. The nitro crates are just, you touch them, they blow up. You can tell from the way they sort of ominously bounce around and bubble. You touch them, they blow up. So just be careful with that. So yeah, so in the original game, if you did even manage to find this route, you then actually had to go through some pretty sort of intricate things where you actually have to jump off these guys and then make slide jumps. That actually seems a little easier. I'm pretty sure we couldn't do that just with a normal jump, but I might be wrong. But now we already have 30 of these 62 boxes. There aren't many in the actual bonus. And then you see here we have our first green exclamation point box. So the nitros do actually count as boxes that we need to break, much like TNTs did in the original Crash. But naturally, because we blow up if we touch a nitro box, the safe way to destroy them is to hit the green exclamation point box at the end, or partway through a level. If you hit that, all of the nitros inside the level are destroyed in one fell swoop, which is really nice. I love this music. I love all of the music in Crash 2, especially Crash 2. I think it's it's got some of the best music in the series. I once got my in my secondary school, actually got my house to perform not the bonus theme, but the actual the main level theme to this sort of style of level. So the woods levels, which appears I think in 2 other levels. And so this sort of percussive theme with all these sort of xylophones and stuff like that. And I actually got my my house to perform that in a house music contest, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I got to play lead xylophone. Never gonna turn that down. I love it. So anyway, we gotta break our next checkpoint, and we're actually gonna get invincibility here. So, we're also going to introduce to the rat pits that are located throughout this level. So essentially, I used to call them rats. They look to be more moles in this version of the game, actually. Hopefully we can break that now. Yes. Ooh. So you see there's actually a box hidden up there, and normally you would jump on the turtle and then use the turtle to bounce up higher. Thankfully our invincibility also managed to break it. But yeah, no, these pits, when I was back starting this game for the first time and stuff like that, I used to get terrified of these pits. Like, I would actually pass the controller over to someone else and have them do it, because I just couldn't deal with it and would just continually die at this section. Now, obviously, they're really, they're not anything to be worried about. And indeed, you can actually skip. If you actually jump on the, you can actually jump off the enemy and use that to get all the way to the top. Anyway, so there we go, 62 out of 62 boxes. It's going to give us our first gem, our clear gem. We will be returning to this level to get the blue gem. So there we go, we get our crystal, we get our gem, and we're gonna get a crash dance. I love the crash dance so much. It first came into play in this game, I believe, and I love it. It's just so great.
Well done, Crash. I knew I could rely on you. Now listen carefully. These holograms are hard to maintain. During the course of my intellectual pursuits, I have stumbled across a force that threatens to destroy the world. The crystals are the only means of containing it. The fate of the world is at stake. It is imperative, therefore, that you bring them to me.
Are you there, Crash? Crash! Crash! Are you there, Crash?
So you hear some light distortion in that cutscene, but normally there'd be quite, like in the original game, there's a lot of distortion. Like when Cortex says these holograms are hard to maintain, you really see it in this sort of, the hologram is quite weak and it's very sort of distorted. And then you actually see Coco sort of actually interrupts Cortex, or right at the end of what Cortex is saying, she sort of comes in to show that she's sort of almost hacking into what Cortex is, into Cortex's systems. So anyway, the blue gem in this level is actually collected by not breaking any box at all. Hence the little hint there, which is be kind to the boxes. So we can't break any of the boxes. So we're just going to rush through the level and try not to break any of the boxes. That includes the checkpoints, that includes the Akus, that includes pretty much everything. So Just got to race through the level and not break any blocks. And if you're wondering how on earth you're going to find that out, this I didn't know for ages. I can't remember how I found out. I probably looked it up, knowing me. But apparently, if you actually get to the end of the level, once you've already got the gem, then there would actually be the box counter would be out of 0. So that was there to sort of give you the hint that you actually needed to break 0 boxes. So to get over here, you actually need to bounce off the slatted crate like that. Actually, I think in the original game you can actually jump over it entirely. Jump over all of those boxes in the... jump over all of those boxes in the... in that little wall there all at once. So let's see. Yep, there we go. Lovely. So you can just bounce straight out. We have 0 out of 62. And that means we get ourselves a beautiful blue gem. And it's important that we actually get the blue gem early, because the blue gem will actually be used later on in this very warp room to find the secret gem of level 3, which is Hang 8. So we find our first secret gem, and this should also trigger a nice little cutscene here with the person who wants us to collect all of the gems, who will be another familiar face from the original Crash. As we get another Crash dance.
So, you are helping Cortex gather crystals, yet you have acquired a gem. Interesting. Well, Crash, know this. As long as you are allied with Cortex, you are my sworn enemy, and I will do anything in my power to stop you. If the fate of the world is truly your concern, you must gather the gems, not the crystals. If you obtain all 42 gems, I can use them to focus a laser. Yes, a laser beam that will destroy Cortex and the space station he has created. Until then, I must use my forces to stop you from gathering crystals.
That is ridiculous. I love Brio. So obviously that is Brio from the first game, having sort of been almost replaced in a way by Engine as Cortex's right-hand man. Not entirely sure about Engine, but you know, so there, you know, and now this time Brio is actually going to sort of working against Cortex, and in many ways he, you know, says that his forces are actually the ones preventing us gathering crystals and stuff. So our first snow level. I love the snow levels in this game. Well, I love most of the snow. There's one snow level in the game which is absolutely nightmarish. But we're just going to grab ourselves some invincibility. We've got some beautiful penguins. So you can see that if we slide on the ice, we actually get quite a large momentum boost. Lovely. Baby. So this level is full of these sort of pillars that fall down if you don't run like straight up. Straight through them. There'll also be some wooden ones that will fall in a pattern, whereas these ones just sort of fall on proximity. So, located just up there, you might... Can we see it if we use the box? Yeah, so there. Just at the top there is the red gem, and you used to be able to actually grab it. There was actually a sort of a little glitch in the first game where you could actually, in the original, where you could grab it by doing a jump off this bouncy crate into this gap here and actually grab the red gem. But I'm pretty sure there's no way of actually grabbing it in this version. Which is good, because you should definitely have to do that the bonus route. So, we'll travel down to our next bonus room. Nearly didn't make that jump. Just sort of got to get used to like the ice mechanics and stuff like that, but there we go. We take nice and simple bonus round. Take care of that guy. So we're going to get our last second bout of invincibility, which is almost a pity because we don't get to hear the awesome music. So you want to head backwards after you get your invincibility here, or once you drop down, because you hit the green exclamation point, which allows you to break all the nitros. And if you definitely need that if you're going to try and get the if you're trying to get the gems. So normally we'd actually have to. Can we actually hit? Yeah, we can. Sweet. So there's an exclamation point box that's sort of hidden up there. You can actually... Can you see it if we bounce high off here? Yeah, you can. So you can just about see it up there. That's the exclamation point box we actually need to make those two boxes there visible to us. And that should be everything for the gem. That should be 74. Lovely. We actually get our clear gem for Snow Go. Nice and simple. We cannot get the red gem yet because there is a secret exit we must actually find in another level. That will then take us to a gem path, which we must then survive in order to get to the red gem there in Snow Go. So we cannot actually get that yet. I think the level is in the second warp room, which we actually need it for. So we're going to get our crystal, our gem. Crash once again will do his little dance, and we can head into Hang 8, so level 3. Again, another level with 2 gems. There are loads of levels with 2 gems to start off this game. The interesting thing about this one is that the normal gem requires going down a relatively, like a far more complex bonus route using the blue gem that we actually got. Oh, I wonder, can we actually... Yes, you can. Oh. You used to always be able to do that in the original, so I was just making sure that we could do it in this. So anyway, what we'll find is that if you get to here, you actually see a small timer appear down at the bottom. So what that timer is that if we get to the end of the level, before the timer reaches 0, we'll actually get our second gem, and there are two gems just like this. So obviously the first one is just normal boxes, and that requires going down multiple the gem path from the blue gem, whereas this one is just pure speed, get through the level as fast as possible. It shouldn't be too close. We should have more than enough time to get through here and grab the gem. Lovely. So now, another thing that is interesting about the game is that once you collect an item, such as a crystal or a gem, if you die, you always have that. So theoretically, and one of the ways that you do that, like a speedrunner would want to complete the game, is that should you collect, so for example, if you collect one of the gems from one of the death routes, and then you die making your way back from the death route, you then still have that gem, so you don't actually need to finish the death route at all. So what we could have done there is we could have actually died, especially seeing as we didn't get any checkpoints, and then gone back and done the whole level again.
3 crystals, not bad. I see you are getting the hang of it. I need to conserve power. I will communicate with you again after you retrieve the 5th crystal.
So there we go. We get another chat with Cortex, and now we can go back into Hang 8 and actually get the box gem this time. And yeah, the box gem isn't too bad in this one. Again, it is just the only difficult thing is actually trying to get the blue gem route down. But that isn't too bad. We do not want to get the clock, because then we won't be able to go into the bonus route. Also, with the speedruns ones, if you hit a checkpoint, you do not actually get the chance to retry the speedrun. So you can only do it if you actually go from the start of the level. So whenever you're trying those speedruns, you want to avoid all of the checkpoints, pretty much. Because if you hit any of the checkpoints, then you won't be, should you fail, you won't be able to then try it again. So we'll take our bonus route here in Hang 8. Don't know why I ran that far back. Anyway. A final move that this game actually introduced along with the slide is the belly flop, which goes, if you hit the circle button inside mid-air, you actually Crash will jump up in the air and then just slam back down. And you can use that to kill a few enemies, and it's very satisfying, or indeed it can, you know, break a large number of boxes in a sort of a small area. So anyway, we'll now take the blue gem route. And actually doing so will get us another trophy. We actually get a trophy for finding a gem route or taking a gem route, which I think is called a diamond in the rough is the name of the trophy. And as you can see, there are boxes within this gem route, so hence why we need to take it in order to grab the gem. Well, I thought I got on the edge of that, but evidently just slid off the edge. Oh, that's quite nice. So they actually imparted what they did with Crash 1, which was sort of make all of the bonus rounds checkpoints as well, which is quite nice. Because normally that wouldn't be the case. You wouldn't actually need to do the bonus again in the original game, so like, you know, the bonus would still be there. Or then the bonus would be locked and you wouldn't have to do it again, but you would still have to start back from the previous checkpoint. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so jump on the hippo. You can get up here. Ah, got a lot of fake box bridge. Lovely. Casual corridor of nitros to nicely avoid. Okay, so now. So obviously there is an exclamation point box that we need to hit. You can just see it past there. Lovely. And now what we want to do is take these boosts, break all the crates. Boom. And there we go, lovely. Just make sure we've got everything. I'm sure we have, lovely. Now let's not die. Lovely. And there's also the green exclamation point box, which allows us to blow up all the nitros. And there we go, 65 of 74. And this should take us right back to where we were, so we don't even need to do any backtracking, which is nice for this stage of the game, but there are certain stages later on where you certainly have to do quite a bit of backtracking just to get the gems. So we had our checkpoint, lovely, and now we can go about collecting these last 5 boxes. Lovely. And now 1, 2, 3, 4. So we zip along. Lovely. 74 off 74. That is our next clear gem. We are zipping through these gems at a pretty nice rate. We already have 5 gems from the first 3 levels of the 6 that we could get. And we can actually get both of the remaining gems in this warp room. Well, aside from the red gem, so we can get both the gems on the last 2 levels as well, which is really good. They aren't too bad. So there we go. We got the second gem on Hang 8, and now we can head into level 4, which is the pits, and is our second woods level. So this is sort of the same background, sort of the same theme as Turtle Woods, the first level. So there's the other thing. So it says break locked boxes. So we'll also see a new type of box that can't be broken with a spin or a jump, and that box can only be broken with a body slam. So we get a nice free Aku at the start. So the birds essentially will, swoop down towards you. I love how this, the weather's, like, they obviously changed the weather completely, so this is now sort of, I guess, dawn or sunset. It looks, it really nicely sort of differentiates between the 2 levels. So we'll hit our first checkpoint, we'll have a second Aku. That came a lot faster than I thought. So you can see those turtles now have saws on the back. So I'm just going to have a look at this level from reverse. So essentially, you saw obviously a split path, and we actually need to take both of these paths. So there is a degree of backtracking that we need to be, taken care of. Lovely. And so I'm just sort of familiarizing myself with what's sort of left of the level. So the reason we go left first is because we have this exclamation point box. And also it contains the crystal. So I think that's everything on this route, but yeah, so that's everything on this route. So now what we must do is we must backtrack through the whole of this section and rejoin the route going the other way to pick up the last few boxes. So we go through here. There's a jump to a single platform in the middle with the checkpoint. Just here, and then jump again. Then we go down the left-hand side. Do 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 do. So there we go, lovely. And now what we can do is we can take this route. So if you slide the saw turtles, they'll sort of flip over and also becomes jumpable, as in they'll become bouncy. But the easiest way to deal with them is just to spin them. So we hit our next checkpoint, which is really nice. Yeah, just the important thing with the saws is that you can't actually, you obviously can't jump on them. So these 2 life boxes here would not appear here. These are the 2 boxes that actually come by hitting the exclamation point box going down the other path. There we go, lovely. And now we can head down here. And here are, so now we actually get to the pits that this level is so named after. And these pits are far more aggressive and difficult than the ones that we see in Turtle Woods. And so they are these are the ones that I was really scared of, like, the ones in Turtle Woods that I would give to someone else, but the pits ones were even worse for young me. So, as you can see, this one is going to require some light box bouncing, which I evidently cannot do. But once more, like in Crash 1, any deaths on the Torna rounds and the Brio rounds do not actually count towards your your lives. So all I've done there is just lost Naku, which as of itself is rather annoying, but I'm sure we'll live. Now I've said that, I'm definitely gonna die. Anyway, so basic jumps. Come on. At least I don't need to jump into that 10 times like I would have in the original. Back when those slatted crates need to be jumped on 10 times to release every Wumpa fruit. So the idea here is that we jump on the first one, we jump on the third one, and then we jump off. Oh. I meant to body slam there, I actually jumped on top and then slid. So, another try we go. Really? Come on. This is getting frustrating. It's like you do all of the really complicated platforming, Crash Bandicoot 1, and then you come to this, and it's just like 2 simple jumps, and I'm messing it up. There we go, lovely. So we take care of those boxes with the belly flop. And then we hit that, lovely. We actually need... We'll get our life, lovely. And now, so the idea now is that we obviously cross back over. But the second box obviously won't break for us because we've left it, so it'll be fine. But still, basic platforming is somewhat eluding me right now. I love how happy he looks when he body slams. It's great. I feel like there'd normally be a bit more sort of area to the body slam, but there we go. Oh, wait, why? That's annoying that that's been turned into a... Come on! Please. Oh, dear. I'm obviously... I don't know what this is. Tired, just... It's genuinely embarrassing that this is what's currently, you know, what's causing me trouble. There we go, lovely. There we go. I could probably count the number of times I failed this on the original Crash 2 version on one hand, and this, you know. Oh man. Lovely, there we go. Slam. Hit that, go back, get the fruit, mess this up. There we go, hoorah. So now we need to do a high jump here. So another move that was, I guess, introduced is the high jump. So if you duck before jumping, you'll do a much higher jump. Lovely, there we go. Jeez, why was that so difficult? Who knows, but there we go, 23 out of 23. We get to finally do the pits bonus. And we only have 2 boxes left. One of them is here, and one of them is just ahead of us. So we're very close to finishing off this level. So we'll fall down here. You can see the exit just ahead of us. And of course, the pits prove my undoing once more. Normally, what I would usually do, I would just be running around like an absolute headless chicken, just terrified of the rat, and I'd just be spinning and running and spinning and running and just praying that I eventually killed them, and would naturally, obviously, just fail most of the time. I feel like I should be, you know, better at this now, but it obviously isn't always the case. But there we go, finally the pits is done, and we get our gem. Won't have to do that level again until the speedruns. So here we are back in the warp room. We get the crystal and gem from the pits, and now our final level of warp room 1 before the first boss is Crash Dash. And this is a level that harkens back to the glory days, the levels such as Boulders and Boulder Dash from Crash 1. We're talking about the ones where you run into the screen and you're running away from a giant boulder. I mean, what more could you want from a level like this? So naturally, if you can slide spin, this used to be really, really easy in the original. I like the fact that they're only now introducing the slide. So those mines, they don't actually hurt you. What they do is they catapult you into the air, and the whole point of that is obviously just to slow you down. Slow you down such that the boulder then eventually catches up with you. So with the ability to slide, I can see the speedruns of these levels being very different to the easy, the ones that were in Crash 1. Because we're going to need to actually learn these levels relatively well, just to avoid everything. Naturally, obviously, the electric gates will kill us, if you hadn't guessed. We'll avoid the nitro boxes. So essentially, you eventually reach these larger pits where the boulder will actually collapse down, and then we'll sort of have these moments of quiet where you get the bonus generally. I feel like this is completely different to what it was. I do not recognize this. I sort of, well, I vaguely recognize it, but I don't recognize it as this level's bonus. There we go. Nice simple box bridge there. We get a nice two more lives. And so, yep, now we get introduced to the boost pads, which will help us. The idea here is that we actually need to use the boost pads to get a significant lead of the boulder in order such that we can actually break the final boxes in the level. Because the final boxes are sort of hidden behind these... Ooh, nearly fell down there. Yeah, so I took way too long there. So yeah, so obviously you need to get enough speed ahead of the boulder so that you can, you have enough time to sort of go back and actually break those boxes. So, whoops. Thank you. Come on, keep running. Nope. It's a little tight. Like, it depends on how fast, you know. I'm not quite used to the slide yet in this version. Nice. Not good enough. So the reason that you can't let the boulder smash them like you would do with normal boxes in the level is that when the boulder hits the electric gates, it actually does a little jump. And so it will actually jump over those boxes. Forget it. Much better. There we go. 44 out of 44. We get our final gem of Warp Room 1. We complete the final level of Warp Room 1. And now all we have to do left is the boss. Maybe just shaking off a little signs of rust. I don't know. We'll see how we do when we get into like the far more complicated levels of this first of this game. Certainly, when we get into like the difficulty, certainly sort of definitely ramps up as you go through it. So there we go. We'll get another. Oh no, we don't actually get. I think we normally get a cutscene with Cortex there. But I think that what he then talks about is essentially, because in the original game you'd have a platform in the middle of the room, and you would rise up on the platform in the middle of the room and go up into, then you'd meet the boss on the transfer from one room to the next room. So anyway, we have Ripperoo. Ripperoo is nice and simple. Just essentially, he has a bunch of patterns. He draws a bunch of patterns with his, with both Nitro and TNT. The TNTs are far safer than the Nitros. You do not want to be anywhere near the Nitros. But as soon as he plays with the Nitros, well, that means that you can spin him. So once more, he's gonna let his insanity get the best of him, as he's gonna trigger the Nitros once more, and now we have the final one, or the final round. So you can see that the safe areas get smaller and smaller, but essentially you want to start close-ish to the first box that he lays down. And there we go, down goes Ripperoo. Nice and simple. And we also get another trophy there. We actually get a trophy for defeating Ripperoo there with Professor Pulverized, which I think is a nice touch, because I think it's mentioned at the end of Crash 1 that Ripperoo went on to become a doctor, get a PhD and something, so it's nice that it sort of then is translated in sort of seeing him being a more intellectual rather than crazy self at the start, although obviously he still maintains his craziness. So there we go. Again, normally I think we'd see a we would see a Cortex thing there, so not everything's the same. But anyway, so now what we can go here is we can travel up and end up in Warp Room 2. So maybe we'll get a Cortex scene here. No, well, anyway, that is going to be it. Oh no, we do get Cortex. There we go.
I see that Ripperoo failed to prove much of a challenge yet again. But back to business. There are crystals to be gathered, 20 to be exact. The planets will align shortly, all 13 of them, and this will create a power great enough to rip the Earth apart. Properly utilized, however, the crystals can absorb and contain the energy.
Crash, is that you? I've been looking everywhere. I don't have much time to tell you this. You have to be careful. Trusting Cortex seems a little unwise, Crash. I can't keep the data path open much longer.
So again, normally there'd be a little bit more sort of distortion with a lot of those, especially with like Coco sort of hacking in to Crash, and then Crash hacking in, and then Cortex sort of breaking back so Coco can't talk to him. So evidently here we also, having completed the first Wolfram, we now have the access to Coco, and we may well choose to use Coco in a few of the next levels. But that is going to be it for this episode. We have Warp-Room 2 to come in the next episode. So hope you have enjoyed this episode, and I hope you will join me on the next.